Marla knew something was wrong the second the server room went quiet. Not shut down quiet, no. This was the type of hush that settled over old machines when they'd been up too long, humming out their dying breath like a nursing home on fire watch. The Halcyon financial core infrastructure, 12 rack-mounted beige relics she'd patched, prayed over, and practically breastfed since 2003, was coughing in silence. And no one noticed, because upstairs, cloud-first bros in Patagonia vests were too busy arguing over which Docker container had the tightest UX. Meanwhile, Marla, the last woman alive who knew what crontab E meant without Googling it, was elbow-deep in a failing heatsink, whispering sweet nothings to a Solaris box running a trading platform older than their interns. She'd just spent 19 hours salvaging a midnight transaction log collapse with nothing but coffee, ibuprofen, and 3 functioning vertebrae. Her reward? A dry bagel in the break room and a Slack thread from a 20-something named Rishi asking why the legacy artifact hadn't been sunsetted. Legacy artifact. Her hands smelled like copper and desperation. Her joints popped louder than the servers. And still, at 7:44 p.m. on a Thursday, Marla was there, alone in a humming underworld of tech rot, trying to resuscitate a bank too cheap to modernize and too proud to admit they needed her. She pulled out her notebook, the real one, leather-bound, no RFID, no OneDrive backups. Flipped past the chicken scratch sketches of architecture diagrams and half-sarcastic to-do lists. Day 643, convinced someone I exist, and added a new line in red pen. Root access course is 037E. 9R $BLP0X#T because no one else kept them. No one else wanted to. The new DevOps team figured the mainframe was just legacy ballast and never once requested full access. Probably assumed Marla would always be there, like the coffee stains on the server room carpet or the ghost of finance interns past. And here's the part where I nudge ya, kind soul listening out there. 97% of you are hearing Marla's tale without hitting that subscribe button. I ain't mad. But let me tell you, it seriously keeps our team fired up and caffeinated enough to keep digging up these spicy revenge stories. So go on, click it, you know you wanna. Anyway, Friday morning came like an overdue tax notice, cold, bureaucratic, and vaguely threatening. Marla had barely finished her first cup of microwaved Folgers when the new Agile Workflow Lead, a title that meant exactly nothing, popped his gelled head in to ask if she'd ever heard of Kubernetes. She stared at him like he'd asked if the servers preferred almond milk. Then went back to logging firewall pings by hand, since the monitoring tools were still being migrated, broken as hell. Around noon, she got wind that the entire HR calendar was suddenly private, and Slack started auto-kicking her from channels she built. Then Rishi showed up at her cubicle like a nervous lemur with a soy latte and said, "Hey, do you have any documentation for? Like those weird cron jobs that trigger the quarterly audit backups? No one can seem to find them in Confluence." Marla didn't laugh, didn't even blink. She simply said nope and went back to typing, then quietly printed a hard copy of the server architecture. The only one in existence, because she knew. Somewhere between the faux-friendly tone of her intern's request and the stuttering Slack interface, she knew. She was about to be legacy too. Friday started like most did in the basement graveyard shift known as Halcyon's hybrid infrastructure support, which was code for Marla, alone, wrangling demons from 2003 at sub-zero thermostat settings. Showed up early as always, coffee in hand, hair in a bun so tight it could cut diamonds, and her favorite hoodie zipped to the collarbone, a faded DEF CON 2009 relic that read I void warranties professionally. She was halfway through updating a Perl script that hadn't been touched since Obama's first term when the first Slack hiccup hit. She tried to upload a hotfix summary to HashiInfraCore, and the channel blinked out like a dying firefly. Refresh. Relogin. Ping denied, she checked again. Not only was she booted, but the entire channel was gone from her list. Weird. She clicked over to the HR calendar, a reflex she developed after decades of watching corporate knives get sharpened in Outlook before they ever drew blood. Sure enough, 5 overlapping private meetings blinked like landmines across the afternoon. Participants? Legal, HR, finance, and her direct manager, Brent, whose entire personality could be described as Bluetooth headset and passive aggression. Still, Marla wasn't paranoid. Not yet. After all, Halcyon's IT department had all the subtlety of a fart in church. Half their stealth ops leaked before they even clicked send. But something was off. The silence around her felt curated. People passed her cubicle with smiles too tight, voices too light. No one asked her about lunch plans, because no one had ever really asked Marla about lunch plans. But today, even the usual awkward non-interactions were missing. At 10:43 a.m., the intern, no, Associate Systems Liaison, bless his rebranded title, came hovering by her desk like a moth unsure of the flame. His name was Jonah, wore Birkenstocks in winter, had a DevOps or death sticker on his water bottle like he earned it, cleared his throat with the kind of fear usually reserved for confessing to a nun. "Hey Marla, weird question," he said, eyes darting like a scared ferret. "Do you know where the configs are for the offsite tape syncs? I mean like the legacy ones. No one's sure which repo they live in." She didn't answer right away, just blinked once, twice. then swiveled her chair like a weathered gunslinger and said, "You're standing in it." Jonah blinked. "Huh?" She tapped her temple. In her notebook, "I never pushed those to GitHub. Never trusted cloud storage with compliance trails that could tank a Fortune 500. That syncs manual. Runs off a box with no internet and a BIOS password I haven't shared since Lehman Brothers collapsed." "Oh," he said, shoulders curling in. Cool. Yeah, thanks. That makes sense." He scurried away before she could add anything. Not that she would have. Marla stared at the ceiling a long time after that, a low whir of HVAC filling the space where camaraderie used to live. She didn't want to believe it, not really. After 2 decades, you tell yourself you're safe. That the years matter. That the late nights and missed holidays and patching systems with nothing but duct tape and dead languages bought you something. But it was happening. She turned to her terminal, printed the server map she'd kept updated by hand. It came out on the old HP LaserJet, 3 clicks, 1 jam. Toner streak like a war scar. The file was 32 pages long. Full architecture. Internal IP trees, subnets, firewall rules that hadn't been touched in a decade but still mattered. She folded it neatly into a manila envelope, wrote nothing on it, just slid it into her bag between her peanut butter crackers and the aspirin bottle that rattled louder with each year. Because if the ice was cracking, she wasn't about to fall through without a raft. Marla hit enter on the final patch at 4:57 p.m., the screen blinking green with success like a lazy exhale from a long-suffering beast. It was a gnarly patch too, half duct tape, half divine intervention, meant to keep the quarterly trading pipeline from puking itself come Monday pre-market. A job nobody asked for. A job only she knew how to do. One of those quiet miracles that kept Halcyon Financial from hemorrhaging millions and never made it to a single slide deck. She sipped the last of her bitter microwave coffee and leaned back in her chair, letting the silence stretch out. The low hum of the server racks above her head was the only applause she'd ever get. She looked at the peeling, "No food near consoles" sign she'd ignored for 14 years and gave it a lazy salute. Then her inbox dinged. Subject, position elimination notification. She opened it without thinking. Reflex. There it was, no greeting, no salutation, no human fingerprints at all. Just a form letter in 11-point calibri, signed by someone named Charlene from a department she didn't even know existed. "Dear Marla, your position at Halcyon Financial has been eliminated, effective immediately. Your access will be revoked at 5:15 p.m. Please do not return to the premises without escort. You may collect your personal belongings by appointment. Benefits information is attached in PDF format. We thank you for your service. Regards, Halcyon Corporate Resources Team." She blinked. Read it again, then looked at the time. 5:02 p.m. Classic. No call, no handshake, no exit interview or farewell donut. Just a 4-paragraph obituary sent to her inbox like spam. No one upstairs had the spine to say it to her face. Brent probably spent the afternoon practicing his "we did everything we could" face in the mirror while sipping a $9 oat milk cold brew. Cowards, all of them. Shock didn't come in waves, it just was like static in her bones. But Marla didn't cry, didn't rage, she chuckled. One of those dry, low laughs that tastes like copper and bad memories. "Well," she muttered, "guess I finally sunsetted." She stood. No need to log out, access would be nuked any minute anyway. She shut down the terminal, real slow, like saying goodbye to a dog you're never gonna see again. Pulled out her keychain and slid the laminated root credential card from the ring. The same card she'd kept for 17 years, worn at the edges, ink smudged but still legible. She laid it gently on the keyboard like a priest placing rosary beads on a coffin. Then she reached for her cactus. It was a gnarly little bastard, barely alive, but she'd kept it going in a stained ceramic mug that said "Keep calm and Colonel Panic." One arm flopped sideways, covered in dust and spite, just like her. She dropped it into her tote bag next to the manila envelope and the crackers, took one last look around the dungeon of blinking lights and buzzing fans, then walked out without so much as a glance over her shoulder. The badge reader beeped one final time as she passed through. Upstairs, the HR desk was already closed. No one waiting, no send-off, no card, just a half-eaten slice of carrot cake in the break room fridge with Brent's name on it. She thought about smashing it, didn't. At home, she cracked open a High Life and opened her laptop, not the work one. The real one, pulled up her Gmail, created a new vacation responder. Subject, out of office message, gone fishin'. Literally, fish M. She shut the lid. She opened her bottom drawer, pulled out her fishing hat and started packing. The same men who blind carbon copied her into unemployment were now sipping craft beer at some off-site strategy retreat in Aspen, high-fiving over the upcoming Monday launch of Halcyon's flashy new investor portal. A full rebrand. Front-end built by a boutique agency, user flow designed for maximum stickiness, and an AI chatbot named Hal. It was sleek, modern, expensive, and, unbeknownst to them, sitting on top of a server skeleton held together with Marla's chewing gum, spit, and a prayer to the ghost of Steve Wozniak. The new DevOps manager, Trey, whose resume read like an ad for medium roast arrogance, told the execs not to worry. "Everything's cloud mirrored," he said, sipping kombucha from a mason jar and tossing around words like redundancy and zero downtime architecture. He'd never once touched the legacy auth bridge Marla built, never asked where the cron jobs were, never wondered who maintained the FTP to blockchain hybrid syncing system that still powered their trade queues. Because Trey didn't believe in legacy code. Trey believed in Terraform scripts that almost worked. Meanwhile, 473 miles away, Marla was waist-deep in the White River, wearing thrift store waders, line in the water, sun on her face. It was a weird kind of peace, the kind that feels foreign at first, like waking up in a motel bed you don't remember booking. She hadn't felt air that clean in years. No beeps, no pings, no Brent breathing down her neck about server latency. Her phone was off. The signal was garbage anyway, and the trout didn't care for notifications. She reeled, cast again, cracked open another beer from the soft cooler tethered to her hip. Hams, ice cold and metallic. The taste of freedom laced with formaldehyde. She hadn't smiled this long since Y2K turned out to be a nothing burger. Still, something itched at the base of her skull, not fear exactly. Just the slow-burning realization that somewhere, someone was realizing just how much she used to do. Like how to reboot the tape archiver without corrupting it, or where the daily audit logs exported to on weekends. Hint, it wasn't the cloud because she didn't trust the cloud to hold warm spit, let alone bank data. That itch got sharper when she checked her phone Sunday morning, standing barefoot on the cabin porch, cradling her mug like a relic from a past life. 7 missed calls, 2 from blocked numbers, 4 from Halcyon's main line, 1 from an old office friend, Janet, the only other woman who knew the server room password and kept a drawer full of Tums and rage. Marla played the voicemail. Janet's voice came through, low and hesitant. Hey, they're trying to reach you. Something about credentials? I don't know, it's chaos. The portal's doing something weird and yeah. Just thought you should know. Hope you're doing okay. Credentials. Marla chuckled, not loud, just a quiet snort through her nose. She didn't bother replying. Didn't even save the number. She poured more coffee, stirred it with her finger, and looked out over the lake. Let him try. Let Trey sweat through his Patagonia fleece while the investors start filing tickets at 4 a.m. Monday morning. Let Brent run out of buzzwords and start Googling how to restore RAID array after ungraceful shutdown. Marla hadn't left breadcrumbs. She'd left silence. And silence, she knew, is the loudest scream in tech. 3:11 a.m. Monday. Halcyon's main trading engine blinked red, not yellow, not orange. Red, the early morning skeleton crew, 2 junior engineers fresh out of boot camp and a sleep-deprived contractor named Ravi noticed first. SSH into courses 03 timed out. Courses 01 pinged once, then dropped off the grid like a submarine hit mid-dive. Automated failover kicked in. The cloud mirror spun up, spat out a permission error, and fell over like a drunk in a blizzard. By 3:16, Ravi was sweating through his hoodie, muttering, it's probably just a network thing, while rerunning Ansible scripts that hadn't worked right since Friday. They tried the root password listed in the internal credentials vault. Root Halcyon 2021, access denied, tried again, denied again, account locked. Meanwhile, trade queues began stacking like unpaid credit card bills. The front end was live, sure, but no one could log in. No session tokens validated. The API calls returned 500 threes across the board. At 4:05 a.m., someone woke up Trey. He showed up 35 minutes later, smelling like beard oil and desperation, demanding to know why the backups hadn't restored. That's when Ravi told him the backups are there. They just won't decrypt. Trey frowned. Use the decryption key from SharePoint. We did, it's outdated. Use the one I sent in the Slack thread last week. You mean the one Marla replied to with a skull emoji? Trey didn't laugh. By 5:00 a.m., Brent had been pulled from his Peloton class and plopped in front of his laptop, barking into his headset. This is why we should have sunsetted that legacy junk 6 months ago. I told you to migrate those scripts, but no one had, because no one could. Marla hadn't documented the core auth modules. She hadn't uploaded the offsite tape catalog. She hadn't onboarded Trey to the meat and bones of Halcyon's fragile Frankenstein infrastructure, because no one asked her to, because they assumed she'd always be there. That's when Janet spoke up, voice shaky but clear over the all-hands Zoom. The offsite backup, it's not in the cloud. It's on a physical tape in a secure locker. Trey's eyes widened. Where? Janet cleared her throat. Marla's storage unit. She's the only one with access. The encryption keys were hers. She never gave them to anyone. Silence. Brent whispered, Jesus, no, Janet muttered, Marla. Then the emails started. From investors, from media contacts, from internal compliance whose dashboard showed a 92% authentication failure rate across all systems. The SEC's digital ears had twitched. Something smelled like liability. At 6:32 a.m., someone finally checked the logs. Last successful root login, Friday, 4:57 p.m. User, Marla root the same minute she deployed that final patch. The same minute she hit enter, packed her cactus and vanished. Every automated process failed. Every Docker container pulled bad data. The Kubernetes cluster spun like a carousel without horses. By 7:12 a.m., the portal was down, not slow, not buggy. Down. Markets would open in under 2 hours. and Halcyon Financial's data infrastructure was locked behind a password handwritten on a notebook, sitting somewhere between a half-eaten granola bar and a dead cactus in the backseat of a Subaru Outback, last seen heading into the Ozarks. By 8:03 a.m., Halcyon's Manhattan office smelled like panic sweat and printer toner. The 27th floor, normally a cathedral of sterile glass and overpriced cold brew, had transformed into a war bunker. Conference rooms booked under names like Investor Sync and Q3 brand alignment were now filled with red-eyed executives scream-whispering into muted speakerphones. The new investor portal was dead on arrival. Login attempts triggered timeouts. Trade authorizations flatlined. Every authentication handshake came back with a digital middle finger. Legacy encryption token missing or invalid. Contact administrator. Problem was, administrator had just taught herself how to tie trout flies. Trey paced the hallway with the same energy as a man who just realized he never backed up his wedding photos. His Patagonia fleece was streaked with sweat. One of the DevOps engineers, Maya, who still used tabs instead of spaces, cornered him by the espresso machine. "It's Marla," she said bluntly. She wrote the whole encryption logic in 2009. Proprietary schema. No Git trail. Asked her once to migrate it, and she said, quote, "Only if you pay me in bourbon and apologies." Trey blinked. "Wait, why didn't we update it?" "Because you said not to touch the legacy stack until Q4, she said, voice like steel wrapped in tired. Then legal joined the call. Then compliance. Then someone from PR showed up with the dead-eyed look of a man rehearsing how to say unforeseen outage in 6 different languages. At 9:10 a.m., the CIO opened the kill file. An internal email chain, one not meant to see daylight, was quietly flagged by an auditing tool. Subject: legacy infrastructure redundancy budget cuts. It had been sent 2 weeks ago by none other than Trey himself. If we eliminate the senior engineer, ML, before finalizing the mirror migration, we save approx. $194K in Q3 salary plus benefits. And for team assures me risk is minimal. Legacy systems should hold until full containerization is complete. Should, keyword, Brent read it out loud in the conference room like he was narrating his own funeral. No one made eye contact. At 9:38 a.m., the market bell rang. Halcyon's systems didn't. Trading halted. Accounts froze. Clients screamed. Their new AI chatbot, Hal, responding with gibberish in broken Spanish and a link to their careers page. Twitter caught wind within 50 minutes. #Halcyon meltdown trended by lunch. Meanwhile, in a fishing cabin just outside Jasper, Arkansas, Marla sat on a splintered wooden chair, sipping gas station coffee and watching the mist roll off the lake like an old friend. Her phone, which she'd turned on for exactly 3 minutes to check the weather, buzzed. Voicemail from Brent. She played it. Marla: "Hey, look, I know this is unexpected, but we could really use your help right now. Something with the legacy system. Could you maybe call me? Please, we'll compensate you very generously." She smirked, not out of spite, just recognition. Like a mechanic hearing the exact sound she warned the client about a month ago. She took one long sip, leaned back, and tapped the screen. Power off. No rage, no monologue. Just the warm glow of consequence. And somewhere back in Manhattan, an auditor finished her report, flagging every system encrypted with a schema labeled ML. Custom Auth 09 binary/ROT hybrid, proprietary. It had one maintainer, one documentation trail, one recovery path, and none of it lived in the cloud. By noon, Halcyon's boardroom looked like a hostage scene lit by PowerPoint. Everyone who once rolled their eyes at Marla's paranoia was now tearing through old file cabinets, praying to find a post-it note that said root password. Just kidding. Legal was in full damage control mode. Someone had finally asked the right question. Who owns the encryption? That led to an uncomfortable silence, a flurry of Slack pings, and finally, LinkedIn. At 12:42 p.m., Marla got a connection request from someone named Janelle R., Associate Corporate Counsel at Halcyon Financial. The accompanying message read like it had been drafted at gunpoint. "Hi Marla, hope you're doing well. I was wondering if you'd be open to a brief chat regarding some system architecture you were involved in. Nothing urgent, just looking to reconnect." She laughed so hard she snorted coffee up her nose. Next came the HR message, classic Halcyon tone-deaf optimism wrapped in a pastel HTML email. "Hi Marla, just checking in to see how things are going post-transition. We'd love your feedback on your employee offboarding experience. Hope you're finding time to relax. Yellow heart your Halcyon HR family." She nearly printed that one out and stapled it to a fish. Then her burner phone buzzed, a number she didn't recognize. Text from Janet, "They're offering you a contract. 3x-year-old salary." Trey's on the verge of tears. "Wanna come in for consulting?" Marla let it sit. She reread the text while stirring beans over the cabin stove, humming an old Bowie tune under her breath. Vindication didn't come with a parade. It came with silence and the power to ignore people who once ignored you. She let them stew. Let Brent sweat through his undershirt. Let Trey rehearse his apology in the mirror. And while Halcyon scrambled to resuscitate systems they never understood, Marla placed one quiet call, not to the company, not to Janet, not even to her fishing buddy Carl, to her patent lawyer. The encryption she'd written back in 2009, The binary/ROT hybrid system, it wasn't just code, it was hers. A custom schema built off abandoned white papers and caffeine hallucinations. She'd filed a provisional patent in 2010 out of spite. Never published it, never sold it, just kept the filing alive year after year like a trapdoor spider waiting under the floorboards. Pull the trigger. She told her lawyer, "We're asserting control over the IP. You sure?" he asked. "Let me put it this way," she said, watching a squirrel try to fistfight a blue jay outside the cabin window. "If they want my brain, they're gonna have to pay the toll." She didn't respond to any messages after that. Didn't answer LinkedIn. Let the offers pile up like dirty laundry at Trey's apartment. They could stew in their outage. She wasn't just the keyholder anymore. She was the damn architect. At Halcyon, they were squatting in a house they didn't own. By 9:43 a.m., Wall Street was buzzing, but Halcyon's portal was not. Investors were locked out. Account values stuck in limbo. Scheduled trades vanished like cigarette smoke in a hurricane. And then CNBC broke the story. Breaking, major outage at Halcyon, financial delays market access for thousands, technical glitch. Company says technical glitch, my ass. By 10:11, Reddit and Twitter had their teeth in it. Screenshots of Halcyon's frozen login page flooded #fintech fails. A TikTok finance bro in a backward snapback made a video breaking down the situation with the caption, "Legacy code strikes again. RIP Halcyon. #boomer revenge." It had 80,000 likes by brunch. At 11:04, a Halcyon internal memo leaked to the press. Critical system knowledge lost due to improper offboarding protocol. Legacy systems require immediate intervention by former senior staff. Investigation ongoing. Translation? We screwed the one person who actually knew how to keep the lights on, and now we're eating glass. By noon, the stock had dropped 17%. And in a small lakeside bar in Arkansas, walls lined with mounted fish, jukebox stuck on Johnny Cash, one TV duct taped above a shelf of expired Fireball mini bottles, Arla sipped her second bourbon and watched the financial apocalypse unfold like a personal rom-com. The bartender, a leathery man with a biker vest and a face like beef jerky, glanced up at the screen. "Damn, that your old place." Marla didn't look away from the Chiron. "Used to be. You work on their tech or something?" "Something like that," she said, and swirled the ice in her glass, smiling faintly as the CNBC anchor tried and failed to explain what an SSH lockout was to a national audience. Her phone buzzed again. Email this time. She opened it. Thread, urgent system restoration proposal Brent had finally cracked. He dropped the corporate tone. It was just a plea now. "Marla, please, we are prepared to compensate you handsomely for your time. Just tell us what you need. Just help us fix this." She stared at it for a minute, then started typing. Just one line. "You didn't value me when it mattered." Attached was a PDF titled, "Halcyon Restoration Invoice ML PDF $250,000 flat. No net 30. No as discussed. Payable upfront." In small print at the bottom, fee covers 1 on-site systems access session. Additional hours billed at $10,000/HR. No further consultation provided. She hit send, then flagged the email as low priority, turned off her phone again, and ordered a third bourbon. Outside, a pair of mallards squawked over territory at the shoreline. Inside, Marla raised her glass, to silence, to system failure, to being the one person they couldn't replace, even if they tried to delete her with a PDF. Monday afternoon, and the corporate phone lines at Halcyon Financial were finally ringing off the hook, but this time, it wasn't desperation. It was surrender. After 3 days of frozen markets, lost millions, and a stock price doing the limbo under the floorboards, the board finally blinked. Marla's inbox flooded with a single message: "We'd like to formally engage your consulting services. Please confirm your availability." She let it sit for a day, then another. Then, with the slow patience of a cat watching a mouse hole, she replied, "Monday 1 p.m., sharp. No flair, no thank you, no looking forward, just business." She showed up in a battered pair of jeans, fishing hat pulled low over her eyes, and a hoodie that had seen better decades. No badge, no security escort. The guard recognized her anyway, how could he not? The woman who'd built the damn kingdom? The dare center was cold, sterile, and humming with the panic of misplaced trust. She walked straight to the server rack labeled Core Sys03, dug out her leather notebook from her tote, and tapped out the password like it was muscle memory. "Still works," she muttered under her breath, eyes scanning the blinking lights like a captain reading the stars. Her fingers danced through commands, restoring access, unlocking encrypted partitions, resetting controls, while the IT team watched in stunned silence. It took exactly 55 minutes. Then she stood, zipped up her hoodie, and said simply, "That's your problem fixed." No hugs, no speeches, no redemption arc. She walked out with the same quiet authority she'd arrived with. Later, check landed in her account. A neat, round $250,000 deposited faster than a Wall Street bonus. She cashed it, bought a one-way ticket to a cabin in the mountains, and retired early, leaving behind the rat race and the glowing screens. But her story wasn't over. At DEF CON the next year, under a pseudonym no one could pin down, she unveiled her root password logic, a legendary, proprietary encryption scheme that had kept millions safe and ruined careers. She became a ghost in the hacker community, a whispered legend. And the last thing she ever said, posted on a cracked forum buried deep in the dark web, was this: "Turns out I wasn't too old for tech, I was just too good to fire cheaply." Thanks for watching, you cubicle warriors. Hit that subscribe button. Unless you're my old boss, then you're on your own. Revenge of the coffee pot strikes again.